So, alrighty, folks, how we doing? Little shock here. We got Sully running things today. I know we got the main man Jesse back. If everybody's wondering, how we doing, Jesse? How we doing?
Doing great. Missed you guys, missed the fans, and certainly missed you and Wayne. But so sad he couldn't join us. He's sitting at City Hall.
Yeah, he's got to deal with an issue over at City Hall, a little driveway issue, which, you gotta love dealing with city government officials, right?
Driveways and drive-bys. That's how we do in New Hampshire.
Well, let's get it started. We'll run the intro, and then we'll get it to it, baby.
Here we go.
Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. Drives one out to deep left field. This one's got a chance to get out of here. Gone! 3-run Jimmy Jack first big league home run for Mike Trout. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. And an 81-point game, 55 in the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed the second greatest scoring performance in NBA history.
Yo. Alrighty, folks. There you go. So, yes, as you can see, Wayne is gone. I am Daniel Sully Sullivan. We got Jesse here filling in, helping us out. How we doing, Jesse?
Doing great. Glad to be back. Thanks so much for having me in for a spot start.
Oh, yeah, of course. So, you know. We know you're a pro, so you're here to do it. We got a busy show today, actually. Obviously, football's back, baby. That's going on in full force. We're going to get all those games in. The NHL finally went to the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll talk about that. The NBA. I mean, we got a bunch to get to. MLB playoffs are ramping up. So, you excited for today or what?
Oh, absolutely. We got a full slate of NFL games to go over. I was excited all damn day. I mean, I woke up early and sat there all jittery, just waiting for the kickoff of the first game. And, I was up until, after the game of the Seahawks-Pats game. So, what a thrilling week it's been. I know, with us, with you guys airing Mondays and Wednesdays, we've got a little bit of time that goes by between your shows. So a lot to go over here. So I'm ready for a jam-packed episode.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It's going to be wild. We're going to start first here with the NBA, though. And the conference finals getting going. No shock there in the Western Conference with the Lakers up 2-0, I don't think. I mean, I predicted a sweep, maybe even one game. You weren't on, but we'll get your prediction there. I mean, obviously AD and last night, that was huge. That shot was massive. And I think that's honestly going to break the Nuggets back. I mean, that was their chance, I think, to steal a game. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's about as close as it's going to get. We haven't seen Jamal Murray pop off yet. I mean, I think both you and Wayne predicted that he would not pop off like you had in series before. You guys both said he would not hit 40 points. So I'm kind of hoping he does. I like to see you guys eat a little bit of crow. But, yeah, I definitely agree with you. That 2-point loss, having AD hit that, he's the true best big man in the league right now. And having him be able to hit that three as time expired, yelling Kobe as he did it. What a tribute, what a game winner. And yeah, like you mentioned, what a momentum breaker for the Nuggets. They had, very few chances to steal a game, and that was it. So I think this is no longer a chance for a gentleman's sweep. This is a sweep.
I agree. And it's a shame Wayne's not on because I'd love to get at him and just – because I think AD is the best big man in the league. He thinks Joel Embiid is the best big man in the league. And no way in hell, even on his best night, Joel Embiid makes that shot.
Oh, man, Joel Embiid is still on the bench.
Exactly. He's not even playing. He's hurt most of the time. Now, in the other series, honestly, a shock to me. I'm sure it'd be a shock to Wayne once we get on here. Miami up on Boston 2-1, and I mean, I did not think that was going to happen. Granted, every game's been mad close. I think you've got the actual stat. What is it you brought up? That each game's decided by an average of 6 points. You mentioned.
Oh yeah.
In your notes, series. That's bonkers, man.
Oh, I mean, I think the image so far of the playoffs, I mean, beyond the AD shot, but even bigger than that, is that block, that we saw from Bam Adebayo. Jason Tatum was going to bring down the hammer, and it didn't matter because Bam wasn't letting that happen. And I'm just as surprised as you and Wayne would be. I heard you guys in your predictions saying that Boston is the deepest team, probably the best coach team. And so far, I think Spoelstra is out coaching Brad Stevens. I think we need to see way more out of Jaylen Brown. We need to see way more out of Marcus Smart. And we need to see the depth of this Boston team because 2-1, it's a lot better than 3-0 because it was close to that. This has been a much more competitive series. I think this has the juice to go 6 or 7.
I thought it was going to go 6 or 7 to begin with. And to be fair, it could just as easily be 2-1 Boston or even 3-0 Boston because they blew double-digit leads in both the games they lost in the fourth quarter. So it's a weird series because Boston's probably been the better team for 80% of the series, but they're losing the series. So it's going to be an interesting one. I can't wait. They're such a good matchup. Both teams are so deep. They get scoring from different places. You can't really key in on one guy. Obviously Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum are the main key cogs, but, Goran Dragic was the leading scorer one game. You know what I mean? You never know what you're going to get. So that series is incredible. I can't wait. I actually still have the Celtics coming out of that series, though. What about you? Do you got Miami or do you got the Celtics?
No, I think that Boston's going to come back. I think that, thank God they came back in the previous game. I think they end up taking the series. I think it goes the full length of 7 games. They needed to. But I think that, us, just like a lot of other fans out there, they want to see Boston eventually get to the finals and play the Lakers. What would that be, the 18th and 19th time that's happened? So it would be amazing to see, first time we've seen that in over a decade now. So I think, since 2007 when it was KG and that Celtics
KG and the Ray Allen team. Yeah.
Against Gasol and Kobe. So, it's been long enough, and that's one of the most storied rivalries in all sports.
Yeah, I agree. It's time. I would love to see it. I don't care if it's rigged or set up or if anybody thinks it is, which I don't. I don't think games are rigged, but it's the perfect scenario. And with everything that's happening, obviously that's what the NBA wants to see too.
Oh yeah, the 2 biggest NBA fandoms for sure.
Yeah, of course. Now Giannis winning the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year. Now, what do you think about that? Do you think he should have won that MVP?
Honestly, I think he deserved the MVP.
Here we go. Wayne letting us know it's 2010, not 2007.
Obviously, he's not in front of the.
There's Dad. Yeah, there's Dad.
Thanks, Peach. I think that he deserved the MVP more so than the Defensive Player of the Year award. I think LeBron has looked really great, but for him to give any gruff about Giannis winning, AD deserved it more than Bron. I think that it was a super close award. I think, we saw Harden up there as well because he was averaging damn near 36 points per game. But I think Giannis deserved it. It's not a postseason award. It's a regular season award. LeBron's playing for his award. And I don't know if you saw Giannis's reaction, but he said, take these awards. Don't call me MVP. Don't call me Defensive Player of the Year. I want to be champion. Call me that stuff after I'm a champion. So the right attitude to have. I'm sure he'll still want to hold on to that trophy and put it in his case, but LeBron's going after the correct trophy. We all know that.
Yeah, and what's funny is, LeBron's making all this, big gripe about not being the MVP and such. Meanwhile, he's scoring 15 and AD's scoring 32 and carrying him in game-winning shots. Exactly. And don't get me wrong, LeBron had an incredible season. What he's done as a big man playing point guard, it's revolutionizing the game, and his ability to assist and be an incredible passer is second to none. But Giannis is the MVP. He played out of his mind. He doesn't have a true superstar with him there in Milwaukee, and he still led them to the number 1 defensive efficiency team in the league. And you just got to do what you got to do MVP wise. I don't know if LeBron's gripe is more that he only got 16 first place votes, because I remember the tweet was like 16 puff or something, like whatever he said. It directly quoted the 16. So I don't know if he's just mad about it not being as close. I don't know.
It would have been huge.
Because I don't think he actually thinks he deserves the MVP.
No, I mean, it would have been nice if he came off and was pissed off that, AD didn't get those first-place votes. Like, if he came out campaigning for a guy that clearly deserved it, instead it looks like he's campaigning for it against his better deserving teammates. So, kind of a schmuck award. I mean, yeah, but we did see we saw Giannis win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. First time we've seen that happen since, since Jordan. So, I mean, those are the only other two guys that have done it, obviously, since those two awards have been given out. So, historic for him. And, he led that Buck squad to a number one seed, wire to wire. I mean, he crushed that Eastern Conference.
Except in the playoffs. I know it's not a playoffs award, but except in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, the best defense against Giannis was a play against Coach Bud. I mean, Coach Bud left him on the bench, more often than not. I mean, you got to give him the opportunity to crush in the postseason.
Yeah, I also did. To be fair, I mean, I don't want to get into a Giannis bashing shit, but I don't love how the Defensive Player of the Year isn't guarding Jimmy Butler, during crunch time and things like that. But I mean, I think he'll learn from that mistake, and because he has proven that he is always trying to strive to get better. He improves things, so we'll see. I think he's got the ability to get better.
Oh yeah, we don't want to see him get better.
If I'm telling you right now, if that guy gets a smooth jumper, the league's over. Now, MLB news. Here we go. MLB's winding down, man. Everybody's clinching here. The Rays, the Yankees, the White Sox. What's up?
You got less than 10 games left of the regular season here.
Exactly, I know, man. It's winding. We got all these teams: the Twins, the A's, the Dodgers, the Padres. Obviously, the Padres haven't clinched in 14 seasons, and then I believe it was the longest drought in baseball. I mean, good for them. That team, we've been talking about how exciting they are and how young and youthful and teams like that were going to do well, and how the White Sox have done extremely well in the Rays. That's proven that this youth movement, I think, especially this year, with this shortened season, has done really well. But Fernando Tatis is just a god over there. Will Myers is doing great things. That's a great ball club over there.
Absolutely. I think if we had an AL allegiance, that would be your Tampa Bays. And if we had an NL allegiance, that would be those Padres, baby. I think that, this podcast talks about the Padres more than the Padres podcast does. But deservingly so. Like you mentioned, Fernando Tatis Jr. is the most exciting player in baseball. I mean, he's honestly the face of baseball. I think a couple years ago, people would have tried to force, Jose Altuve in that spot, but he's a schmuck. I mean, you and I both don't like that Astros team at all. Mike Trout is, a face that, just isn't exciting enough. I mean, obviously his stats speak for themselves, his awards speak for themselves, but Fernando Tatis is that dude. I mean, he's got all that sizzle. That Padres team is going to be fun. Having both them and the Dodgers in the same division is fun. There's still some divisions that aren't wrapped up yet. I mean, we still got the Nationals and the Braves duking out over there, and we know we love Juan Soto and Acuna Jr., so still got some young, exciting players to come up in the MLB. So, yeah, I mean, less than 10 games to go. This has been an exciting, shortened season. I mean, I got to be honest, I didn't play MLB Fantasy this year just because I didn't think I could really keep up with it or really get into it. But I don't really know who's leading the league in home runs right now, what that number is. Who's crushing right now? Is it Tatis? Is he leading the league? Is it Mookie Betts?
I lost you there for a sec. You hear?
Oh yeah, I got you. I was just checking. Do you have any idea who's leading the league in home runs right now? It's been that weird of a league that I don't. Weird
Luke
of
Voigt.
A season.
Luke Voigt.
Okay.
Yeah. Luke Voigt, the Yankees' first baseman, who's actually on my fantasy team, is leading the league in home runs. Fernando Tatis Jr., also on my fantasy team, was up there for a long time. But pitching for me has been rough this year in fantasy. I haven't been able to hit I usually find a mid-level tier guy that goes on to ball out, and I whiffed on all my guys this year. But so that one's been a little rough. But yeah, I love this year in baseball. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, because of the Rays, their success, them actually being, the second best team in baseball and the best team in the AL is incredibly wonderful for me. I'm filled with a bunch of pride. I kind of called that this season would fit exactly what the Rays like to do. We get out to fast starts and we play good ball, when we need to. So I'm excited. I think we can make a deep run in the playoffs. I really do. We're going to get the Blue Jays in round 1 as of now. And I think that's going to be a smooth, easy matchup, to be fair. No knock to Ryan Leaf there and his Toronto boys.
I was going to mention it.
I just think we'll handle them pretty easily. And I'm a little nervous. Yeah, I'm a little nervous because I think the Dodgers kind of got a clean run there, and their team's so good. So we'll see.
They've got a complete ball club. I mean, for as much as I love Clayton Kershaw, he's still looking to prove it in the postseason.
Now, on to a little the Detroit Tigers manager, I forgot. You had to mention here. Damn, we're just so far behind. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Kershaw does need a bit. Detroit Tigers manager here, a little note, had to take a little abrupt retirement due to health. Hopefully everything's okay with him. I haven't really read much into it, unfortunately, but we did want to give a little shout out. Hopefully he's okay and everything runs smooth. Now, done with baseball. I'm over it. I want to get to football. So we'll get to a little NCAA football to get it in there. LSU names Miles Brennan the starter there, and Mac Jones wins the starter gig at Alabama. Now, what do you think about that? Was he supposed to win it? I'm not keen to the Alabama program. I don't follow. Was he supposed to win that gig?
Oh, yeah. I think that he was the presumed starter to take over the job. I think that's why you saw Tua's younger brother end up transferring to Maryland and get that early eligibility at Maryland. So, yeah, I think, he made that switch because it was so known that Mac Jones was going to end up getting that spot. And I think, it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is there. I mean, yeah, we've had some sizzle there for a few years with Tua. But I think, prior to that, we just had game managers. We had guys back there that really just handed it to beasts behind them. And, they're beasts of O-linemen and relied on that defense. So I think in any year, I'm not too reliant on a fantastic quarterback. I mean, so I don't know too much about Mac Jones right now. I consider this a transitional year, especially, while we're playing through the pandemic. But I'm excited for the year. I know that we are going to see a lot more of the big name programs play this coming week. We're going to see, Florida. We're going to see Georgia. We're going to see LSU, Bama. We're going to see these big name programs actually take the field this year. And we know that that's where the big money players are that play in the NFL. So I know this is a week you'll be watching some collegiate football on Saturday.
Yeah, of course, it's going to be an incredible day. And I agree with your point about Alabama and having game managers. I mean, that's essentially what they've had, from before. Essentially, Jalen Hurts and Tua were their two really only game-breaking quarterbacks. Beyond that, it's been an incredible defense and a run game, and I think they're going to rely on that again. Najee Harris is going to be an absolute stud this year. And you've got 3 first-round talents on the outside at receiver, so I don't think who's ever a quarterback is going to have an easy ride. I'm excited to just get the season going. I'm actually, we had the Big Ten conversation last week. What do you feel about the Big Ten being in? Do you think they should be allowed back in? I don't know. If I was an SEC commissioner, I think I'd vote against it purely because I don't like the idea of playing 2 extra games. But what do you think?
Of course, I was listening to the program, and I totally agree with what you said, Sully, where you said that, no new information has come out, regarding, COVID. It's not like, they're doing anything different. So you had that decision to opt into the season when a lot of the other major programs and conferences decided to. So the fact that you get to kind of take this step back, you want to play in a bowl game, sure, but you don't get to be in my playoff.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get to then decide now that you see, like we mentioned before, it's a money issue. They see, okay, well, these programs are working. The money is coming in. Now we want to get in there. Well, but first we need 4 weeks to practice. Well, no. If you want to play, then start and let's get this shit rolling. I don't know. It looks like they're going to be allowed back in and everything, and hopefully, I think they're trying to start games October 23rd is the last I saw. Which, is a month away. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I like that, but, it is what it is. NCAA is going to love it because now they get Ohio State back in. They get Michigan back in. They get all these giant programs back in just to generate revenue. So they don't give a shit.
Yeah, I still wish we had that opportunity to see that, like power conference where, there was a few of the power conferences that just involve themselves in a crazy schedule. Because, I still think we'll see some cupcakes, amongst these conferences. And nobody likes college football cupcakes.
No, nobody watches those games. That's where you lose most of your college football viewership there. Alrighty, now a little NHL. Let's get it. That my boys, Tampa Bay Lightning. I can't be more happy. All my teams are balling right now, but my boys, the Tampa Bay Lightning, are in the Stanley Cup Finals against the surprise Dallas Stars. And actually, even more of a shocker, Dallas came out and handled the Lightning in Game 1, played extremely well. And I know they had a span where for 28 minutes they scored 3 goals on 4 shots, which is not going to happen again. But still, I watched that game from start to finish, and we got beat. Plain and simple, we got beat. And it worries me a little bit because they can skate with us. They're a big physical team. They can skate with us. I think we're going to need to be on our A game. And obviously I called for a 4-1 or a 4-0. I'm going to stick to that. But it's going to be tougher than I thought.
Yeah, Sully, I remember when you had Vegas going to the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't even think you gave Dallas a shot. So seeing Dallas's offensive prowess so far, seeing Jamie Benn, seeing Sagan being able to put up points, they seem like a much deeper team beyond those guys as well. I still like Tampa's goaltending more than anything. Let me ask you, where's Stammer? Did he get a chance to play in Game 1? Is he going to see any ice time this series?
I didn't catch the last bit. What was that?
Steven Stamkos. Are we going to see any Steven Stamkos this series?
Stamkos? So there's a tidbit that he was skating around today, not like doing any drills or anything, just a little skate around, and he may be available for excess games. I'm not exactly sure. There's a rumor going around the Tampa Bay area, and I don't want to, because I don't know how much truth is to this, but there is a rumor that Steven Stamkos' wife lost a child in birth and had a miscarriage. And that is delayed his want to come back to the program. Apparently his injury, he was ready enough to come back last series or even the series before, but obviously at home and personal reasons have kept him off ice. I don't know how much truth that is. It has not been reported. His wife was pregnant and she is no longer pregnant and there is not a baby. So one can only assume what had happened at this point. We shall see. I obviously don't want to speak off topic here or put in any news that I don't know. That's just a rumor I've heard around Tampa, which would be obviously horrendous. And we understand why he's not back. I'd love to get him back, but I don't think it's that important.
Yeah, you never want to speculate. If that indeed is the case, then, my heart goes out to him and his family. I wouldn't be able to, breathe, sleep, or eat, let alone play a professional sport while mourning, bringing life into the world with your wife. So, if that is indeed the case, I hope he takes whatever time is necessary. Still rooting for your boys, though. I want to see, Sully, I want to see you have all the joy with the Bolts. So, rooting for them this series and rooting for them to win that Stanley Cup for you. But let's talk about some football, buddy.
Let's do it. Now we're going to start with the Thursday game. I know it's been a long time, guys. I know this information is going to sound redundant because you heard it and a long time leading up to Sunday, but we haven't spoken on it. I don't have the graphic, unfortunately, but your boy Sully nailed the game again. I took the Bengals and the 5.5 points, and we covered, baby. We got that late cover. We got that garbage time touchdown to get us within 5 in the cover, baby. Me and Wayne were both wrong. We both said it would probably go under. I advised kind of not to touch the bet regardless, but we both missed that one. But I'm crushing these point spreads right now, man. But the game itself, I love. Joe Burrow. God, I feel so bad for the kid. He has zero help along that offensive line, and I'm really, really afraid he's going to get Derek Carr syndrome. I'm honestly afraid. Or David Carr syndrome. I'm honestly afraid.
Yeah, you don't want to see him get sacked a ton. You want to see him actually gain some trust in some guys. I think you called it with him building a relationship with Tyler Boyd. I think he's been able to build some chemistry with Boyd out there on the field, and that showed in this past game. If I remember correctly, Boyd had about 70 yards, 6 or 7 catches. So they're certainly, building a nice connection there. But yeah, beyond that, not anything reliable in that Cincinnati offense. And that's why we saw, the Browns, the color brown team, we saw them win 35-30. Ed Stefanski getting his first win as a head coach. I think that's good for him, coming from Minnesota and being able to get his first win as a head coach. I gave Baker a lot of shit in the comment section recently about how I'm seeing him more in his commercials than I am on the field. But he had 2 touchdowns this game, 2 passing touchdowns. And then Nick Chubb, he had over 120 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns himself. So, the Browns offense can do it when they want to. Still waiting to see OBJ. Hearing more about him in the news than I am seeing him on the field. But good for that Browns team to start 1-1 and not be in another 0-2 hole. They've been in that hole way too often.
I mean, OBJ was able to get a touchdown in that game, but I agree. I never really thought he was an elite receiver, if I'm being fair. I thought he has elite speed and elite catchability. I just don't exactly, and I think that just bounced him into the front of a lot of people's eyes, and I never really saw it, if I'm being honest. But I do think Baker played a little better. But again, it's against the Bengals, so it's a tough measuring stick because they're not a great team. They need to get Joe Mixon more involved on offense. The Bengals do. But the Browns, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I love that tandem. I think they're going to do a lot of damage. They both are going to get theirs, and they're both going to eat. And I think if they do that, they can win a lot of football games. And if they don't make, Baker Mayfield pass the ball 40 times a game, I think they can win a decent amount of football games.
So speaking about how many pass attempts a quarterback has, you didn't mention it with Joe Burrow, but he threw the ball 61 times, Sully.
Yeah, which you're never going to – if your rookie quarterback's throwing the ball 61 times, you're losing that game. Plain and simple, you're never winning a game your rookie quarterback throws the ball 61 times. I don't care who your rookie quarterback is. So they need to get Joe Mixon more involved. They've got to develop some type of run game. Even if they're down, you've still got to be able to run the football, and they just can't at all.
Is A.J. Green nothing now? Is he
He's not an elite top 10, top 15 wide receiver anymore. I don't think so at all. I think Tyler Boyd's replaced him as the number 1 on the team and as the number 1 weapon. And I think Joe Burrow feels that way too. But you still got to cover him. He's still a threat. He's still a savvy guy. He can still run good routes and catch the football. So you can't just leave him out there and say, fuck it. But I'm not doubling AJ Green ever again.
I feel you.
Yeah. Now the next game, we'll just go with the first Sunday night. We'll go with the least exciting game. The Bears versus the Giants. Nobody gives a shit about either of these teams.
Where you at, Coombs? Where you at?
To be fair, nobody gives a shit. The big news out of this game, and the big news out of every game and all of Sunday, is these injuries. It was absolutely insane. Obviously, the biggest one to most fantasy owners was Saquon Barkley tearing that ACL. He's done for the year. That coming out of the Browns or the Bears game in the first quarter. That's such a shame. I don't. Other than fuck, that sucks. I don't know much. Damn, I just feel so bad for the guy.
Not to be morbid here, Sully, but who is the backup? Who is the beneficiary of a Saquon Barkley torn ACL? Who in that offense gets more touches now? Is it a running back? Is it Evan Engram? Is it Golden Tate?
Right now it's Deion Lewis. He actually, he had 10 carries for 23 yards, which obviously isn't good at only 2.3 a clip. But he had, I think it was 5 or 6 catches for another 40 yards, and I think he got a score too. They're looking at Devontae Freeman. They're going to have to find an option somewhere. They're going to have to do something. Tampa has a plethora of backs. Maybe they can work a trade out there, which is odd because Tampa's never had backs. But now we've got 3 who are very, I think, they're all putting up contributions right now. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where they're going to go, but they need an option.
Bears are 2-0.
Now the Cowboys coming back and absolutely shocking the Falcons. What are the Falcons just doomed to be the most choke-worthy team in all of football? That's what's happening now?
I don't know how you can wake up and be a Falcons fan. I mean, to blow multiple 28-point, leads like that in such a small span of time. I mean, Matt Ryan is a very, very good quarterback. They have Julio Jones on their team. They talked about this team being the new addition of that dream team because they're all first-round picks on the offense. Oh, man, to lose in that fashion. I mean, that onside kick, that little knuckleball onside kick, everybody was doubting McCarthy and the Cowboys for, going for 1 as opposed to 2. And, the way that game ended, I never saw it coming. I thought the Cowboys were going to run away with that game. But for them to be down that much and then climb all the way back, it was a fantastic game by Dak Prescott. I think he's a fucking vulture. He vultured multiple of my Zeke Elliott touchdowns. But, first guy ever to have 400 passing yards and what was it, 3 rushing touchdowns or 4 rushing touchdowns? 3 rushing scores. So, yeah, it's bananas. Absolutely bananas. Jerry Jones is going to have to pay that man.
It looks like he's gonna, and thank God. I was playing Zeke this week, and so thank God he didn't get those touchdowns. But yeah, it looks like Dak's gonna have to get his money. The Falcons, I just don't understand why they don't jump on that onside kick. I'll never get it. They're the first team in the history of sports to score 39+ points and have 0 turnovers and lose a football game. The first team in the history of the NFL, they're 440-0 teams that do that. Now they're 440-1 because of the Falcons.
Yeah, that's the wrong side of history for those ATL Falcons. Man, that's not good at all. I did want to ask you one thing about the Falcons offense. I just actually asked you about AJ Green and his fit on the Bengals offense. Now, let me ask you about another guy that came in that same class at Julio Jones. He was not the leading receiver for the Falcons. Calvin Ridley was. Is Julio Jones, is he fading away there in Atlanta?
I believe so. If you checked any of our fantasy shows, Calvin Ridley is the guy I preached to grab in the 4th round to most people. I wish Wayne was here because we have a running joke. I told him to grab Calvin Ridley, and he grabbed A.J. Brown instead. And he had the ability to get Calvin Ridley, and he grabbed A.J. Brown. And now A.J. Brown's on the injured reserve, and Calvin Ridley's the number 1 scoring wide receiver in fantasy sports right now. I think it was just his year this year for Calvin. He's the 3rd-year receiver now. He's ready to break out. Julio, again, is still a dangerous piece. You can't leave him alone. But, he's 32, I think, now. He's getting up there. He doesn't have the same breakaway speed. Obviously, he's still dangerous and can get up the field, but he's not running a 4.3 anymore. You know what I mean? So I do think it's Calvin Ridley's time. I've said it from the beginning of the year. He's going to be a top 7 scoring receiver, and I'm sticking to it.
From one situation where Dak Prescott, poached a lot of scores from me, I want to bring up another one. I was facing a team that had Aaron Jones. What the fuck, Aaron Jones? The guy had over 40 points as a running back. Career day on the ground. He had 168 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. Ooh, that Packers team was good, man.
They do, man, and Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. I'm telling you what. That team's good. They look good. They're playing with, it looks like a chip on their shoulder. I think a lot of people came out and even had this team behind Detroit in that division, and they're not happy with that. They're not okay with the way things sit, and they're going to make a point that, hey, look, we're still the team to beat in the NFC, and especially in the North. And, they look incredibly good on offense. On defense, they're still a little, I think, questionable. They still gave up, 30 some odd points to the Vikings, which isn't that impressive. And then this week, they gave up 21 to a Lions team, which, let's be fair, isn't the best. I'm a huge Matthew Stafford fan, but no Kenny Galladay, and he still gave up 21. But the Packers are impressive, and they're going to be tough to beat, man.
Let me ask you another question here, Sully. Matt Patricia, what is he still doing with a head coaching gig? This guy's lost 11 straight since being with the Lions. He's got less than double-digit wins in his entire career as a head coach. I mean, I enjoyed the guy in his backward tat style when he was the defensive coordinator for the Patriots, but what in the world is going on? Shorten that leash out there in Detroit. Cut the leash, man. Get him out of here.
I actually agree with you, man. I mean, normally I'm not a fan of getting rid of coaches. I like to see them get their due time and things like that. But, man, I'm pretty sure he's like 9-26 or something as like a head coach. And, I mean, sorry, my dog just ran past the window, scared me. He's like 9-26 as a head coach. And that's just – I don't care if it's Detroit and you're used to a losing culture, man. That's unacceptable. You got to get that out of there. At this point, it's run its course. Like, what else can he offer you? What is he giving you that makes it look like he's improving? Because I don't see it personally.
Oh, nothing at all. I don't think he's doing anything to improve that franchise. And while you've got a young Jeffrey Okudah and a still producing Matt Stafford, you got to get Matt Patricia out of there because it seems toxic at this point.
I agree. And you got TJ Hawkinson there, Kenny Galladay, DeAndre Swift, like that offense has a little bit of pieces to work with. Taylor Decker was just paid a stupid amount of money at offensive tackle. They've got pieces. They really do. It's just Matt Patricia sucks. I mean, honestly, he sucks. Some guys are just better coordinators than they are head coaches, plain and simple, and that's okay. Josh McDaniels. Perfect example. He's one of arguably the best offensive mind in the entire NFL. He was an awful head coach. Awful. He couldn't manage it all. But put him as an offensive coordinator, the guy's a fucking genius. And he's the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league, as he should be.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Now on to a shock. Probably the shock of the season. Not to Jesse, though. But, man, these Jaguars were playing good football. They didn't get the win with the Titans. They lost 33-30. But they did knock me out of my survivor pool in week 1 and beating the Colts. And this one was a tight game. Obviously 33-30. The Titans drove down in the last minute and kicked a game-winning field goal. Gardner Minshew is a stud. Ryan Tannehill is playing better football than I ever thought he would. I'm impressed on both sides with these quarterbacks, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember Wayne several times shitting on Ryan Tannehill, just really not supporting the contract.
Oh, me too. I'll own it.
I'm glad.
Me too. Yeah.
It seems like he's certainly taken his game to another level. I mean, 4 passing touchdowns. Jonnu Smith, he's a tight end for them, correct? He's not a receiver. He's kind of like a hybrid type tight end, but,
he's listed as tight end, but yeah.
He had 2 touchdowns, and Derrick Henry, looks good, but we're not going to see Derrick Henry in peak form for a couple weeks now, and you don't want to see Ryan Tannehill be this good with Derrick Henry behind him. So I really like the way that the Titans are playing, but that Jaguars team, I sent you the eyeball emoji when they were up, close there in the fourth quarter. I thought they were going to take that game.
Yeah, they are playing out of their minds. I can't even lie. The Jags are playing better football than I ever thought they would. The rookie James Robinson is a legit running threat. I can only imagine how much better they'd be with Leonard Fournette, if I'm being honest. But I think they're fantastic. The Titans, on the other hand, man, they look good. Corey Davis has stepped up and been a legit number 1 receiver that he was supposed to be. I mean, he was drafted, I think, 4th overall or 5th overall, if I remember correctly. A.J. Brown's out right now, but Jonnu Smith has stepped up huge. I picked him up in fantasy and was able to start him. And that was a huge get for me. And I think everybody, if you haven't, obviously is going to blow up the waiver wire, but Jonnu Smith is huge. He's just a good niche. And like you said, Derrick Henry hasn't even had his huge game. He had 100 yards last week, but He hasn't even had his huge game yet, and they're still winning ball games. So I agree. If Ryan Tannehill is playing the way he is, where he's completing 18 to 24 passes for 400 yards, for 239 and 4 touchdowns. My apologies. For 239 and 4 touchdowns, you're going to be hard pressed to beat that team. They're a tough ball club. So I'm impressed again on both sides. I know the Jags lost, but I was still really impressed with what they did. Going over to the Colts-Vikings, man, the Vikings suck. The Colts beat them pretty handedly, 28-11. That Vikings team is just bad. I mean, they're just bad. I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know if they forgot Dalvin Cook is in their backfield, but they're just bad, and you can't have Kirk Cousins throw the ball that many times or you're going to get 3 interceptions from the guy.
Yeah, I hate to keep giving the schmuck airtime, but Coombs was on our show months ago, and he declared the Vikings as his early NFC North favorite. And yuck, does that look bad, because Kirk Cousins with those 3 interceptions. You like the Colts defense and really their whole team coming into the season. So they finally get on track there. Jonathan Taylor, had a case of fumbleitis there in college, but here he is now with 101 yards and a touchdown for the Colts. So, great game for him. Great game for the Colts to get on track, and hopefully they keep going in a positive direction if they want to, reach the goals that you've put on their shoulders.
Yeah, I know. I've got them going to the Super Bowl. So, they got to get through Tennessee in that division, unfortunately. But, yeah, they looked obviously much better. I think it's easy to look good against Minnesota. They essentially lost their entire secondary, especially corner. They lost their starting corners and their backups. So, it's they're a little rough there. Danielle Hunter's on the IR. So, I get it, but still, I mean, that team's just not very talented. As much as I love Adam Thielen, I don't think he's a number 1 receiver. I think he needs help. I think he needs a Stephon Diggs on his other side. And I wouldn't be shocked if I saw this Minnesota team finish in the bottom 5 and move on from Kirk Cousins and take a Justin Fields or something like that if they have the opportunity, because I don't see any upside for this ball club right now.
Oh yeah, I'm not like you. I'm not feeling Adam Thielen either. And I think that was a great transition by you to bring up Stephon Diggs, obviously their former playmaker, leading into this next game here. And Ryan Lees, where you at, buddy? Because, god damn, did Josh Allen ball out? Did Stephon Diggs ball out? I mean, Josh Allen here, a career high, 417 yards, 4 scores, and 7 points ago. I mean, Josh Allen blew up, and I'm playing Ryan Leith in fantasy, and because he had Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, a homer, he kicks my butt, man, so the Bills beat all up on the Dolphins. I mean, even though it was a close score-wise, I don't think that Dolphins team is as close as that score makes it seem. I think the Bills are a much better team.
I agree. I picked the Bills to win that division. I still think they will win that division. I've been a huge Josh Allen supporter. I'm on tape saying I'd take Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson.
And Michael Vick.
And Michael Vick. So I look decent right now. Lamar Jackson is still playing great football. But Josh Allen's playing out of his mind. The kid's improving his passing ability incredibly this season from last season. Obviously, having a guy like Stephon Diggs helps a lot. Stephon Diggs has been incredible there. I just really, really, really like that Buffalo team. I think the delay kind of hurt Buffalo, and that's why the score – I mean, there was a 30-minute lightning delay down there, and I think they just maybe got a little cold. It's odd to play a game like that. I mean, 31-28, I agree. I don't think it's that close while watching, the game, because I get, down here in Florida, that's my other game, my other local game. So watching it didn't seem like it was a close game, but I mean, the talk of the town is Josh Allen. He's going to get all the pub from this game. The stiff arm he threw on Kyle Van Noy is cycling around Facebook is like the biggest meme right now. So, I mean, the kid's a stud.
All right, so you got some close access down there in South Florida, Sully. How much longer are we going to see Ryan Fitzpatrick as the quarterback of that Dolphins team? When is it going to be Tua time?
I said, I think it was week 4. I said, if I'm not mistaken, 4 to 6. I still think it's going to be that time. Eventually, they're going to have to put him in.
Just waiting on my friend Sully to pop back. We're waiting on those 2 rotations on his Wi-Fi. But I am asking him about Fitzmagic and when we're going to see Tua.
So I think he'll be back, and I think I said week 4 to 6. I still believe that. Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't have the Fitzmagic he had last year. I don't see it. The team can't run the football at all. I mean, Jordan Howard's improving it a little bit, but Matt Breida can't get a touch for some reason, which is odd.
Especially since they just gave him that money.
Exactly. I just don't see a lot from this team. So I would think Tua comes in sooner rather than later, but I don't think they want to rush it. But at a certain point, you've got to get it in there and just see what you got.
Well, Sully, let's talk about the ugliest game in terms of injuries here. That San Fran team got beat up.
Beat up, man. What'd they lose? Joey Bosa, Raheem Mostert, Jimmy G, Solomon Thomas. God, are there any more starters they lost? There's 4 starters.
I mean, they already didn't have.
They lost a lot of players, and not just players.
They already didn't have George Kittle.
Yeah, exactly. Richard Sherman. I mean,
Debo.
They didn't have Debo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk finally made his first start. I mean, that team's just man.
Decimated.
They're going through it right now. Yeah, they're going through it right now, and
they still kick the Jets' ass.
Yeah. And they still kick the Jets. I mean, the Jets are the worst team in football. There's no doubt about it. They're the worst team in football. They're bad. They're bad. That team's bad. I mean, they got hurt too, though. Brashard Perriman, they went into the game, no Jamison Crowder. Brashard Perriman gets hurt out the rest of the game. I mean, they don't have the weapons to deal with that kind of loss. They don't have the depth to deal with that. Holy fucking shit. Goddamn cats. Fuck. I'm sorry, folks. Yeah. But they don't have the ability to deal with those kind of issues. So, I mean, they're just a bad team. And I'll be wondering, the biggest now issue or the biggest interest I have with that team, because I believe in Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is an NFL quarterback. Do they get rid of Adam Gase and start over with Sam Darnold, or do they get rid of everybody and start over with Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields if they get one of those picks and abandon the Sam Darnold thing? What would you do?
I mean, I think Adam Gase is the worst head coach in the league. I mean, we just spent a couple moments talking about Matt Patricia, but Adam Gase has no reason to have that job. I mean, I didn't think he deserved a new opening after leaving the Dolphins. I think that Sam Darnold is I'm not going to say he's a prize. You know, some of that shine is certainly off, but that offense has some pieces where they shouldn't be getting blown out week in and week out. Adam Gase is not a motivator. He's not a leader. He's not a proper NFL head coach. So like we mentioned earlier, go back to being a quarterback guru somewhere else. You're not fit to be a head coach in this league.
I would agree. The unfortunate part is I think I'd take Trevor Lawrence over Sam Darnold, and I mean, which sucks because I really believe in Sam Darnold, but it's Trevor Lawrence. He's a once-in-a-lifetime player. Now, speaking of players who you may be done, Carson Wentz can't fucking complete a pass. Looks awful, and the Rams shockingly beat the snot out of the Eagles 37-19, man. I mean, it wasn't close. Jared Goff and Tyler Higbee look incredible. Tyler Higbee with 3 touchdowns, local boy here in Pinellas County, so I'd love to see him doing well. And Rams are shockingly playing great football. I didn't have them quite as bad as Wayne did. What was Wayne's win total he had for him?
Wayne had the LA Rams finishing at 4-12, and right now they are 2-0. So Wayne, they better start losing soon, buddy.
To be fair, I thought they would finish last in this division as well, just because I think the other teams in the division are so. I mean, I think this is the best division in football. I mean, we're also seeing Seattle's 2-0, Arizona's 2-0, LA's 2-0, San Francisco's 2-0. I mean, the entire division's 2-0. So they're an incredibly good division. I can't wait. Actually, wait, no, San Francisco's 1-1. My bad, because they lost to Arizona. Duh. But they still look great, but still the teams, that division stacked. LA looks much better than I thought they were gonna. I'll tell you what, Aaron Donald's a monster. The guy just dominates football like he's playing with children. It's so fun to watch. Quickly now to the Steelers-Broncos. I am really high on the Broncos, but man, the Steelers played some great football. They're a good team. I think they're going to be tough to beat now. I really do. I think they're going to challenge Baltimore for that division title. 26-21 was the final. Little stutter. The main injury coming out of there, Drew Lock going down with a shoulder injury, and it looks like he's going to be out for 3 to 6 weeks. Cortland Sutton, bad knee. He's out for the season now. I mean, it's just a repeating trend, but man, the Steelers look good. What do you think? Do you think they can press the Ravens for that division title?
Yeah, that offense looks better than I thought they did, or than I gave them credit for. James Conner is still a beast. They are popping up young receivers. I'm not going to remember his first name, but last name was Washington for the Steelers. But he looked really good. Yeah, James Washington. Okay, he looked really good for them. They had a really good offensive game. But looking at the Broncos, they drafted 2 young receivers and a young tight end. Thank God, because losing Sutton really hurts. That guy was on the up and up. So, getting Hamler and, help me out here, Judy,
I was going to say, your boy.
Giving them some opportunities. I think that'll be good for them. I think Driscoll looks pretty decent. His opportunity. I mean, I don't think he was expected to play at all. So seeing him come in and throw for almost 260 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, the guy did well. I mean, it's probably his first serious work in several years.
Yeah, especially just for coming in, on short notice, it's always tough to do. Also down your number 1 wide receiver. You mentioned the tight end Noah Fant. He's got touchdowns in back-to-back games. He's playing incredibly well. They're going to need to rely on those younger guys now. KJ Hamler made his first start. Jerry Jeudy looks good. I think they're going to win less games than I initially had them on track for. Obviously, because of these injuries, losing Von Miller, too, at the beginning of the season was a devastating blow. But this team's not going to be as good as I thought they were. But, man, I'm impressed with the Steelers and think they can win a couple games. Now, on to the most important and exciting game of the week. The Buccaneers handled the Panthers. We put the clamps down on Christian McCaffrey, which we usually do. To be fair, last year he didn't have 100 yards against us in either game. We tend to put a big lock on him and make the other guys beat us, and they just weren't able to. Fournette's the star of the show right now. He was able to break a long run, get over 100 yards on the ground, and I think now he's going to take over that backfield. I'm just really excited. We were clicking finally. We're down Chris Godwin last week, and I think we still played really well. Mike Evans played out of his mind. Tom Brady with that intensity is just leaking into other people. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I definitely think that the offense for the Buccaneers looked more refined. They looked almost more New England-esque this year. I think you guys are going a little bit more short intermediate routes, even though Mike Evans lives off those deep routes because of how big he is. And I think Brady still kind of used his toys, but I think you guys dinked and dunked a bit more. And, yeah, I mean, having Fournette and Rojo back there, I mean, you guys got a very, very nice two-headed monster. And you even drafted, was it Vaughn?
We had Keyshawn Vaughn, and he hadn't even seen the field.
Does he need to yet? I mean, save him for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But that offense is obviously clicking on all cylinders. As a newly minted Brady hater, I do want to mention another pick six there, Sully.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to watch the picks. I don't believe it was a pick six, was it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, all right. But either way, I mean, he's got to cool it with the picks. It seems like it's a habit with these Bucks guys. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the water down here. I don't know if they're just drunk all the time off the sun and shit, but man, he needs to watch it. But we held Teddy Bridgewater in check. Our secondary, I'm telling you, they got bashed, but I don't know if there's a better trio than Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, and Sean Murphy Buffing. I really don't. Now, I know that's a big, statement and things like that, but I mean, the three of them are just legit corners. They really are. Antoine Winfield is playing exceptionally well for a rookie. Devin White. Yeah, Devin White's flying around the football field. Levante David's doing what I'm really excited for my team and really think we can win a lot of football games. On to the Ravens and the Texans. The Ravens coming away with this game 33-16. The Ravens just rushed all over this team for 230 yards. Lamar Jackson didn't really have to do much. Only had to throw the ball 24 times. A similar stat line to Ryan Tannehill, 18-24, 200 yards, but only one touchdown, not the 4 touchdowns from Tannehill. Again, they really didn't have to do much. Will Fuller and that offense in general, I think that's just more like what we're going to see. I think week 1 when they were spreading the ball around and players were doing well, I think this is more like we're going to see. They have 0 like legit number ones on their team. I'm a big Brandon Cooks fan, but he's not a number one, and they're gonna suffer from it. This poor Deshaun Watson.
You sound like Jesse when we did the AFC South preview. I mean, you hated all the hate that I gave that Texans team, but yeah, man, Watson has barely anybody to throw to. I love David Johnson in that first half of week 1, but man, we're talking about less than 51 total rushing yards for this Texans team. That's yucky, man. That's yucky. Bill O'Brien better figure it out, man, because you won't be able to win in the AFC South, let alone, the AFC at all. If you can't get a ground game going, that's putting way too much pressure on young Deshaun Watson. I think he's one of the better, brighter spots in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, you're going to give him nobody to throw to, nobody to run the ball. Then he's going to end up getting crushed way more often than not.
Yeah, and what's funny is if you're not going to dedicate yourself to a run game, then why did you go trade the best wide receiver in the league for a running back? And that's what blows my mind. It's like, bro, you've got to you're fucking stupid. It gets just so frustrating. And it's what's wild is he's an extremely intelligent human being and he's very smart with the X's and O's and he's a great quarterback and offensive guy. But man, you're a bad GM. Plain and simple, you're a bad GM. Now on to arguably the most exciting quarterback in the NFL right now, Kyler Murray, that Arizona Cardinals team, just making me look like a genius. The Cardinals beat the Washington football team 30-15 pretty handily. No big surprise there. Kyler Murray with I believe it was 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown, 26-38, 353 total yards. I mean, the guy's just a machine. He's a baller. He's an animal. He's everything you want. If you actually watch the games and watch him run, God, he is scary elusive. I'm so excited to see his evolution as a football player. And I really do think we're in for something truly special with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Kyler Murray isn't a dark horse anymore, Sully. I mean, this guy is, shining bright as day. You said it. I mean, watching him on offense, he's spreading the ball around. He's making plays. He's not running for the heck of it. He's running smart with the ball. I think that Cliff Kingsbury is using him very, very wisely right now as a head coach. And this team's going to be super exciting. Like you mentioned, this is the most competitive division in the NFL that we have right now. And we're going to see it as the season goes on. I mean, my game that I was most looking forward to is coming up in a couple of weeks here, and we're going to see this Cardinals team who is consistently putting up points going against that Cowboys team that is consistently letting up points. I think we're going to see, maybe 80 points combined between these two come week 6. So, I mean,
yeah, take the over in that game, folks.
Hit it. That's that over button. I think the Cardinals look hot. Like you mentioned, crazy competitive division. We haven't even gotten to the best team in that division yet.
I know. And to be fair, Washington didn't look terrible. McLaurin and Gibson played well. Gibson got his, and McLaurin got his. I mean, Dwayne Haskins is coming along. I think Arizona's defense isn't one that's, a laughing stock anymore. So to be held to only 15 or to only give up 15 is not bad at all. And I'm pretty happy with that team, and I think they can do really well. The shocking game of the week.
Boy, Chase Young with the sack.
Of course, I mean, he's up to 2.5 in 2 games. I mean, the guy's a monster. I'm telling you right now, he's gonna have 10 sacks minimum rookie season, and he will average 10 to 15 sacks his entire career. I'm telling you, he's an absolute monster. And the thing is, he opens it up for everybody else. Ryan Kerrigan had 2 his first game. I think they had another 4 sacks total this game. That team's incredibly impressive on the defensive side of the football. Now they just need some secondary help, but. Now, the shocker of the week was first Tyrod Taylor, freak chest accident. Justin Herbert throws in to be the starter randomly out of nowhere. Everybody, Chargers going to lose by 40. Nope. Chiefs barely beat the Chargers by 3 in a last-second field goal, 23-20. Justin Herbert comes out there slanging that tater, man. Running, throwing, playing great football. I'm the biggest Justin Herbert hater on the planet. I don't think he's a good quarterback. The guy throws for 300 yards in his debut, and I don't know if you saw it. While running for trying to get a first down, lowers his boom on somebody and knocks him smooth out. Colded the guy smooth.
Oh, yeah, I watched that game. That was the next game that came up for me, that 4 o'clock hour, and I was excited to see, the Chiefs really get pushed. The Chiefs got pushed around by the Chargers. That Chargers defense looked really good. Herbert looked much better than I expected. I mean, the only input I had was you shitting in my ear about Herbert. So I expected to see doo-doo on the field, and that guy held himself pretty well. I think having a guy like Keenan Allen helps out. Having a guy like Hunter Henry helps out. That Chargers team didn't look horrible at all. Really pushed the Chiefs to the brink. And if it wasn't for Harrison Butker and those 2 58-yard field goals, we'd be looking at the Chiefs in their first loss, and that's not one that I think people pegged as a loss for them. So crazy competitive game there, and almost as competitive as that Sunday night game, Sully.
Well, before we get into that, the one thing I will say is if you watch the game, and the one thing I did say about Justin Herbert is he thinks about his throws. And the one play that sticks out to me the most is the third down play. It was in the second quarter, 3rd down and 5, I believe. He throws an easy out route, misses the pass. Then they go for it on 4th down. He has Hunter Henry open deep, and he overthrows Hunter Henry and misses that throw open deep, and they give the ball up on downs. And it's just those. Now, I only give those 2 examples because they're the 2 I remember. But he missed on a lot of easy throws, and I think that's where Justin Herbert's going to not succeed is because, again, he thinks about every throw. So the ones where he's like, I got to make this, and then he ends up missing the throw. But I do agree. He played much better than I thought he was going to. That, like you mentioned, the game last night, holy shit. That was football at its finest. That's why we do what we do. That's why we love this game. To see 2 teams like that playing at that high level, the Seahawks were able to get out of there with a 35-30 win. Russell Wilson looks like the MVP of the league right now. The guy's playing incredible football. Cam Newton and the Patriots may make me eat some words. I think they may win more than 6 games now. But man, it was a great game, and obviously as a Patriots fan, it had to hurt a little bit. But let me get your take on the game.
First of all, these 2 teams play nothing but classics. Anytime the NFL can get these 2 teams to play each other, it always ends up in a classic. I think the last 4 times they've played, it's been decided by about 4 or 5 points. Here we go with a 5-point deficit. So, Cam played out of his mind. This is one that I commented when you guys were previewing the week. And I commented and said this was a loss. So, for them to have an opportunity to win that game, at the very last few seconds, they were at the 1 or 2 yard line. What's unfortunate is everybody knew Cam Newton was running that ball. I think everybody also knew that he was going to take that side step to the left. And I hate that shit, man. Having Tom Brady for so long where he would just QB sneak it. We got a guy like Cam Newton, man, just run forward, fall down forward, get that fullback in front of you. You already praised Josh McDaniels, that offensive, mind of his. And that's just not the last play that he or anybody else wanted to see. So hated to lose on that. But to get to that point and to be so close to a win in Seattle, let Russ cook. He threw, he had 5 total touchdowns, and we came away losing at the last few seconds. So I'm absolutely impressed with everything that's going on with that team. I think the Patriots are certainly going to win double-digit wins.
You know what? I'm very, very, very excited to see their Bills matchups. I think those games are going to be classics. I think they're going to be great games. You talk about and why I think so is because the Bills practice against Josh Allen, who is essentially Cam Newton every day, and the Patriots practice against Cam Newton, who's essentially an older Josh Allen every day. So I think that both defenses are going to be really ready for a big physical running quarterback, and they're going to know what to do. And I think that's going to be a great game. The one thing I would have loved to see the old Tim Tebow jump pass right there. I mean, like you said, I think everybody in the building knew that Cam Newton was going to run that ball up the gut. He does the little then comes back and throws the jump pass. Man, that would have been nice to see. And I think it might have worked, but hindsight's 2020. Obviously, it was an instant classic. Russ is playing out of his mind. DK Metcalf that boy strong. Everybody says
Wayne hates DK Metcalf, but where's Wayne right now? I mean, DK Metcalf, he did a number on Stephon Gilmore, the Defensive Player of the Year.
To be fair, I mean, that was a great throw. Stephon Gilmore was there. He had perfect coverage. He had his hand literally in the basket. And I mean, like I said, DK Metcalf just strong. I mean, that boy, he looks like a T.O. clone. Like, it's wild watching him. I'm like, is that T.O.? Like, it's so funny watching him. But yeah, and I mean, Tyler Lockett's a god. I mean, the guy just produces every year. Chris Carson's a stud for that team.
Jamal Adams is all over the field.
That's what I mean. That offense is scary, and their defense with Jamal Adams is now back to looking scary. I mean, Seattle is a legit threat in the NFC now, and I didn't see him as that. I thought they were a great team, but I didn't see him as a legit threat to like the Bucks as a title contender. And now I do, and we'll see. Now on to the Monday Night Football game tonight. We got the Saints. We got the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. I know. Actually, what's the line of this game? Do you have it?
I thought
because we always give lines to our pregame.
I thought I saw 5.5, but you may want to look it up just to confirm.
All right. Well, go ahead and give your prediction because you do have it in the notes. So go ahead and give your prediction, and then we'll get to the line.
I'm going to give my prediction of the Saints over the Raiders, 28-16. I think that even without Michael Thomas, the Saints run away with this. Kamara's going to eat. I just don't think the Raiders have what it takes to keep up with that Saints offense.
All righty. We got the line at 4, which I don't love, but it's underdog city for me, baby. And I'm taking the Las Vegas Raiders and those 4 points, and we're going Raiders here. I actually think Raiders win this game outright, if I'm being honest. I really, really, really liked what they did last week. This is a big jump because I think they're going to have to continue that progression. My only issue is that Saints defense. They're good. The Saints defense is very good, and I think they can stop Josh Jacobs. And if they can, then I think the Raiders lose, but I think Josh Jacobs eats. And I think the Raiders win, but it stays under the 48. So we're going to take the points in the Raiders. Actually, you know what? Don't take the points. Money line it. Take your big plus money. Take that plus 175. Money line the Raiders. It's the lock of the week of the century, except it's not a lock at all. So go at it incredibly wary because I have no clue if they're actually going to hold.
And Kenny, I don't know if we've got you here today. I don't know if Wayne took him with you, but are you taking the under? Or are you taking the
Oh, we don't have the audio, but he normally says it's over.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Sully. I got a piece and talk to my daughter, but you guys have a great night.
Take care, man. Have a good one, folks. That's us for Infinity Sports. Don't forget to check us out on infinitysportspodcast.com, Infinity Sports, and all the links. Here they go right here. Bang. We love you. Take care. Bang.